Good morning. I hope that everyone had the luck of the Irish on their side and had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. I know I certainly did, but I think I can get into my low, my high, my act of kindness. Really, all I can say is for my low. Last night's dinner was so good. I just wish there was more of it. But sadly, that couldn't be the case. My mom could only make so much, and it was really good. It was really, really good. I had I'll talk about that in a second. My high is again the great dinner, family time. It checked all the boxes. It was wonderful. And my act of kindness was I helped my mom set the table for dinner, as well as yesterday afternoon I helped her watch my nephews, which also adds to my high because I got to spend time with my nephews. So that's great. But for now, I'd say it would be time to go, back to reality. But today is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. So yeah, yesterday was a great way to sort of, in a way, kick off the weekend, which is really great too, because considering that St. Patrick's Day always falls during Lent, if St. Patrick's Day was on a Friday, we do not get corned beef and cabbages. I wouldn't be eating corned beef and cabbages. No, I mean, some people would, but again, I'm Catholic, so there's some things you can't have on Fridays. Well, you're probably wondering, well, Nick, if you can't have corned beef, why not the cabbage and all the, various vegetables that go with it? Well, technically, you're right. We can. It's just that to properly make corned beef and cabbage, everything has to stew together in one giant pot for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So you essentially get a nice sort of stock of, the corned beef and the vegetables. Oh, the stock is amazing. But the thing of it is, not only can you not have meat on Fridays during Lent, you can't have any meat-based stocks. You can have seafood stock, you can have vegetable stock, but chicken stock, no. Beef stock, also no. Do they make pork stock? Well, even if they did, the answer is still no. But enough about that. Actually, I'll talk about the dinner, a little bit more of the dinner in a minute. But yesterday we had a new episode of How One's called and the guest is Jacob Elordi. And I have to say, having known nothing about this guy going in, I learned a very great deal just in this episode alone. I mean, he literally had spoken out how two of his biggest acting inspirations are both Marlon Brando and Montgomery Clift, which, if you don't know who they are, they're two of the greatest actors of their time. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows Marlon Brando from The Godfather, but Jacob Elordi mentioned how his favorite Marlon Brando film is On the Waterfront. Meanwhile, with Montgomery Clift, one of his best movies is From Here to Eternity, which my father actually told me what that movie is about just yesterday. Basically, if you don't know what From Here to Eternity is, it is a movie that's set at Pearl Harbor right before the events of Pearl Harbor. In a way, it's kind of like an anthology film series in a way, where you are just looking at the lives of these different soldiers that had to be stationed at Pearl Harbor. And then Pearl Harbor starts, and then from that moment on, it's from here to eternity. I guess in a way it's supposed to symbolize that, as bad as moments can be, life does go on forever. So, yeah, I guess it kind of works, maybe. Let's see. This is really interesting. Because again, Jacob Elordi, he's from Australia, and I had only just remembered, thanks to Sean talking about it, a lot of Hot Ones' best sauces in their lineup have been from Australia. And there was going to be, and Jacob is totally joking about, hold on. Excuse me. He is totally joking about, all right, because my country makes these hot sauces, it's automatically my fault. Well, you be the judge. But this was a very, very good, in fact, I'm no kidding, the number 7 sauce, 13 Angry Scorpions, is actually made in Jacob Elordi's hometown. And actually, he didn't talk about how his uncle was really big into hot sauces. And that's about, the only experience that he has. What else did I talk about? Sean Evans had brought up how David Chang, back when he was on Hot Ones, he completely talked smack about the burger game in Australia. And he gave Jacob Elordi an opportunity to, rebuttal. And he's like, yeah, burgers are great. I mean, because here's the thing. One thing that Australians like to do is put stuff like beets on their burger, or like pineapple and stuff like that. I mean, to be perfectly honest, you're free to top a burger with whatever you want. And I would say it'd be worth trying at least once. Besides, pineapple on a burger? I mean, that's actually a thing. It was invented in Canada. I know it's thanks to the... Thank you, George Motes, a.k.a. Burger Scholar. The Burger Scholar. But I'm never having pineapple on pizza. Not unless you roast the pineapple before baking the pizza, as well as there better be lots of smoked meat, like ham and bacon. Thank you. Anyway, where was I? Right, I'm talking about, what went on yesterday. Oh, man. The sad part is, I actually went to bed stupidly early for me. Like 9:20. Well, it's super early for me on a Thursday. And man, I just could not get out of bed this morning. To be perfectly honest, I'm still sort of feeling a little bit of the drowsiness, if you will. But I'm feeling, man, I feel good. I feel content, I suppose. Again, because yesterday was such a great day. I mean, yesterday afternoon, I went to Carter Elementary to meet my mom and my nephews, and we had a wonderful time at the park. It was very wonderful. And, oh, right, that reminds me. On Tuesday, I mentioned how we went to this one, reservoir-looking place. It's called Monkey Run. Okay, I had no idea what it was called. Or at that time, I couldn't remember what it was called. But we went back to Monkey Run. That was really awesome. And one of my nephews is really interested in seeing a couple of ducks. I'm like, there's ducks here? Like, okay. And sure enough, there was first one duck showed up, and then 2 of them showed up. So I'm like, okay, this is actually really cool. This is really neat. My nephew wanted to see some ducks, and, he got to see some ducks. Although, the way that the that this place is set up. It's sort of like a hill, sort of like going downward. And, we're sort of walking along it or whatever. And my mother and my other nephew took like a big fall into like some really, dirty mud. So that was funny. But everyone was fine. So no one got hurt, obviously. One thing my nephews like to do is, because there's still snow on the ground, they'll like throw the snow into like some of the water. I mean, that's cool. It shouldn't hurt anything. I mean, snow is essentially water just like frozen, so throwing that into water is just gonna make more water, I guess. So that shouldn't be a bad thing. And I guess if I was to add to what my low is, outside of the obvious, I wish there was more corned beef and cabbage, it's just the fact that, I've had a really great couple of days. And I just happen to be lucky that my mother happened to be off. But for the next 3 days, she's working. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of sad. I kind of wish I, saw her a little bit more and had, got to, even she has to work. I mean, she's an adult too, And she's in her, early 60s, for goodness sake. She's gonna retire in a couple of years. She's gotta work too, I gotta work too. We all gotta work, so we all have to work. Unless you're a kid who happens to be watching this, in which case, you can ignore that part, you're fine. But man, I'm just gonna miss my mom for the next couple of, I shouldn't say I won't see her at all. Normally on nights like tonight and Saturday, and maybe even a little bit of Sunday, my mom will get into work. Because she's supposed to work from 7 to 7, even though it's a hospital, so you never know what the outcome is going to be. So it's like from 7 to 7, it could be like 7 to 7:30, or 7 to 8 o'clock, or 7 to 8:30. Sometimes it's even later than that. So yeah, I am a little bit sad that, I'm not going to be able to see my mom or whatever for longer than I would like to. Especially when trying to make some changes. One of those big changes is obviously to incorporate even more family time than what I was doing before. And is that why I'm falling asleep so much? Like, I'm just so happy and content with all the family time I've been spending that, I don't want to wake up from this dream or whatever. No, it wouldn't be like that. It'd be kind of cool, though. It'd be really cool. Although, I guess if you do take anything from this, it's the fact that I'm 32 years old, and you are never too old to outgrow loving your parents. So keep that in mind, I guess. As well as, it was just so nice, and yeah, it was great. This actually, I can probably talk a little bit more about the dinner I had, because I kept saying I was going to do that, but I didn't. Basically, for the first time ever, because normally my mom will make this in like a slow cooker, but in this case, she put it in like a Dutch oven and kept it like 250 for hours and hours and hours, and like let it braise and whatever. And that was very, unique. And, seriously, I walked in like, oh, like that is the smell of my childhood if I ever smelled it, you know? It's like that, broccoli and Swiss cheese soup, spaghetti and meatballs with garlic bread, meatloaf, pretty much all the quintessential mom foods I've talked about over the years. And a few sweet ones too, like, you know, chocolate chip cookies. That's a good one too. But speaking of cookies, I wasn't expecting this at all. For dessert, I mean, here's the thing. I live in upstate New York. We have what are called half moon cookies. And if you live in the city of Boston, Massachusetts, they're called black and white cookies. No matter what you call them though, they're exactly the same. You know, it's a cookie, half chocolate, half white, hence black and white cookie, or half moon cookie. Because obviously the night sky is, black, and a half moon would, be white. There you go. And normally it's obviously, vanilla chocolate, but half moon cookies can come in a variety of designs. So basically my mom got these half moon cookies that was like half green and half white with a green shamrock in the middle of the white. And it was totally all vanilla. But it was a chocolate cookie, so it all balanced out. Like, favorite, share, the subscribe button, find me on social platforms on YouTube. I'm very humble in this video for all of you guys who watch and enjoy for the name. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Hope you all had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. And hey, I'm going to read this today too, so that's going to be awesome. And remember, figures about Taco Jones will be here to let you always have your back. Take care and make good choices. Have a nice day.